get the latest business news now. Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder and former CEO of crypto exchange FTX, has pled not guilty on charges of fraud. Charles Pellegrin is on set to tell us more.
That's right, Allison. SBF, as he's known in the crypto world, made the plea at an arraignment in Manhattan on Tuesday after being extradited from the Bahamas last month. As a reminder, he's accused of misappropriating billions of dollars from investors and customers in his companies. Bankman-Fried is currently under house arrest with his parents on a $250 million bond. He's wearing an ankle monitor and can only leave the house for court appearances or exercise sessions. Catherine Viet has the details.
Not guilty. That's the plea from the former head of collapsed cryptocurrency exchange FTX. In court, Sam Bankman-Fried denied charges he defrauded customers and investors by shifting deposits at FTX to fund his other firm, Alameda Research, and to buy property and make political donations. Two of Bankman-Fried's closest colleagues have already pleaded guilty and agreed to cooperate with the Justice Department.
I think what you're seeing is that with the pleas of people who were part of his inner circle, that they knew full well that they were utilizing the money in the ways in which it's alleged, and that it was client funds, and that it was being misused, and that it was illegal.
In interviews before his arrest last month in the Bahamas, the 30-year-old former billionaire admitted there were failings, but that he was unaware that funds were misused. The FTX exchange imploded in November, declaring bankruptcy and revealing billions of dollars in missing funds, a meltdown that has shaken the entire cryptocurrency industry.
Prosecutors say he misled investors and he should pay a heavy penalty.
Bankman-Fried has been charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and campaign finance violations. And if convicted, he faces up to 115 years in prison.
Tech giant Microsoft has recognized its first labor union in the U.S. Workers at video game production company ZeniMax Studios voted to unionize. ZeniMax is behind such hits as The Elder Scrolls and Fallout. This follows a recent uptick in unionizing in the country, with Apple, Amazon, and Google all involved in labor disputes in recent years, especially with the rising cost of living. The Communications Workers of America union commended Microsoft for its different approach, saying it will, quote, strengthen its corporate culture and ability to serve its customers, and should serve as a model for the industry and as a blueprint for regulators. Here in France, Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne is holding a second and final day of talks with trade and employer unions about pension reform ahead of a presentation of her plan scheduled for January 10th. The reform is meant to ensure the pension system doesn't run a deficit starting next year, and advocates a raising of the retirement age, which is currently set at 62. Trade unions left the talks on Tuesday determined to oppose this measure, and are showing a unified front, including from the more moderate CFDT union. Take a listen.
The CFDT, you have to understand, is opposed to raising the legal retirement age. So it is opposed to 65 years of age. But it also happens to be opposed to 64 years of age, for example, and I could continue. And so today we hammered home our position. But I say it here, and I said it to the Prime Minister. If the legal retirement age is raised to 64 or 65 years, the CFDT will mobilize to contest this reform.
Meanwhile, inflation in France has slowed down in December. The figures harmonized for European comparisons are of 6.7% over the year compared to 7.1% in the previous month. This could just be temporary, though, with the National Statistics Office saying a peak could be reached in early 2023 before a more permanent drop starting in March. Inflation still driven up by the increase in energy prices, which soared over 15% over the year, as well as food, up over 12%. Let's take a look at how European stock markets have opened this Wednesday. Stocks trading higher as investors await U.S. data this Wednesday. First off, the release of the minutes from the last U.S. Federal Reserve for indications on the future of monetary policy, and also the latest reports on U.S. jobs and manufacturing. We see the FTSE in London up by just under 1/3%. The Paris CAC 40 up by 0.75%. Let's take a look also at the Asian stock markets now, where we're seeing mixed trading there. The Nikkei in Tokyo starting off the year in negative territory, down almost 1.5% following the publication of an indicator that showed contraction of the Japanese industry in December. And the Hang Seng in Hong Kong up over 3%, moving higher, buoyed by tech stocks. And that's actually the end of this business bulletin.
Charles Pellegrin, thank you very much, as always, for that business update.